Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another matchup of today's fixtures with the LG Ultragear Tec Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant. It's going to be your boy Aggressive, joined by Universe once again, and of course, the vacation boy himself, Ribs. He had a long vacation, but he's finally back with us. I don't think he's going to be excited with me because he knows what I can put him through when it comes down to the analyst stats, but hey, we're all excited about the match now, aren't we here, Universe, as we head on down over into today's fixtures.
Yeah, we are really excited. It has been quite of a day today when we saw Global Esports earlier take on and win 2-0 against Outside Esports, and that was the end of their journey in this tournament. They have been relegated, but right now it's a story of another juggernaut going up against another side that has been struggling so far. Sus Squad hasn't really been on top of their game for quite a while, and it's not the same thing that they were when they were Tempest last season, right? And this time they have a fear of relegation, which could come out to be true if Velocity Gaming get the better of them today. So yeah, exciting match indeed, but a lot at stake here for Sus Squad, more so than Velocity.
Yeah, that is a true factor. But at the same time, I personally do believe that Sus Squad, they have a chance, but at the same time, it could be really difficult for them. But before we do talk a lot more about the teams, let's just head on down over towards the MVP standings. And hey, Vacation Boy, give us your thoughts on the MVP standings because you took a vacation and we couldn't.
So what? I took like a 1 week off and I get termed vacation boy. Holy shit! Okay,
Yes.
that's actually appropriate because in that 1 week, what did I miss? Knight
Yeah, a
Rider's on
lot.
top now. He's overtaken SK Rossi and SK Wow. Jesus. Okay, I did miss a lot, I guess.
Really. But hey, that's kind of what you expect. It's going to be the MVP standings. It's going to go up and down. But at the same time, Knight Rider and Rawfield making their debut here, that's the most interesting part of it all. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on down over towards the group standing and see exactly what the teams are going to be looking like when it comes down to the point basis. And here, Crips, I want your thoughts just a little bit more. Looking at the standings here, you did miss out on a lot, but I think that we have you covered when it comes down to the standings in general.
What am I looking at? Is that seriously Reckoning Esports on top?
Yes, they
And then
won
there's
everything.
Velocity, T69, Godlike Esports at the bottom. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I feel like a time traveler. I step through 1 year and I land 100 years later. And 100 years later, the dystopian feature no longer exists. It's a nice, peaceful utopia. All the underdogs are ruling the top. All the teams that were supposed to be the best ones are reeling at the bottom. And this is like the perfect fantasy out of what would probably be the opposite of a Hunger Games book. What is this? What did I miss? Seriously, how does Godlike Esports have 5 losses? How is Velocity at 4th place? Who did they even lose against? Oh my god. This is
As
indeed
for
very, very surprising.
Yeah, it is a surprising factor indeed. Godlike did drop their roster, I do believe, so they stepped down from the tournament and they're not going to be playing at all. So they're going to be at the very
Oh yeah,
bottom.
okay, that's
Velocity's been having such a rough time when it comes down to a lot of their games, but hopefully today it's just not going to be a rough day. Hopefully they're going to be the team to shine to the very brightest of their own abilities and take down the side of Sus Squad. And speaking of Velocity, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on down over onto their team intro and see exactly who's going to be playing on today's matchup and who are going to be the ones to tear up the entire server here, Universe. Because honestly, when you consider this team, they don't require much of an introduction, but at the same time, hey, these guys, they have great smiles and they have a lot of good mechanical aim to show us as well.
Yeah, they do. I mean, what really can we say about Velocity Gaming? They've been the champions of Tec Gauntlet Season 1, and they've got players who, well, quite literally are probably among the very best in the region. We've got Amaterasu, MW1, Helef, Vibor, Right to Ace, Marzil, and not to forget, we've got a new addition who's probably going to be making his debut today, and that is the man himself, Deathmaker. And, I mean, this roster, I mean, if you don't fear this roster, then you gotta have something on the back of it, and that's gonna be a huge mountain because you look at these players and you're gonna think, okay, you know what? We definitely need to bring in all of our cards today to play because Velocity Gaming is a team that just cannot be taken lightly. And even if you take them seriously, you gotta go deep into that seriousness because you gotta take them very seriously. And they're a team because of the fact that they're the team who've beaten pretty much every single team, and they and Global Esports are, in a level of their own. They're in a league of their own, and that's exactly why they have won so many trophies and got so many victories on their belt. So yeah, Velocity Gaming, a team to be feared, and Susquad definitely should be respecting that.
Let's exactly see who's going to be feared the most coming on down through from the side of Velocity, ladies and gentlemen, as we head on down over towards the player spotlight powered by AMD Ryzen Radiant. And honestly, here, Crips, I feel as though as we are going to be seeing Amaterasu being at the very top end and being the one at the spotlight, him playing the Sage a little bit questionable, but at the same time, hey, he's a big brain IGL himself. And honestly, when he's on the server, you know for a fact that you're going to get thrown into a loop and then thrown into the fire in the same space.
Yeah, it's an infinite loop of pain and suffering, and it just does not end until you kill
The
Amaterasu.
eternal fire of
Probably
Amaterasu.
exactly eternal fire of Amaterasu. That guy literally stands true to his name. It probably won't even end after you kill him because those are what black flames, if I'm correct,
Yes,
according to the
yes.
Naruto universe. Yeah. So Amaterasu, even though the stats show that he's a sage guy, let that not fool you. He can fill any role. He can play the breach. He can play the phoenix. He plays the sky. Sage also another healing character. He can play it if needed. So this guy is like a jack of all trades. He can play the duelists, the initiators, and the sentinels. The only thing I haven't seen him play is probably the controllers. But then, because he's the captain, he's probably commanding the controllers and he's telling them what to do. And that's the perfect IGL that one could ever ask for.
Yeah, Matarazzo is one of those players that you know for a fact when he's on the server, you don't really have to worry about a lot. He's going to be the one to hold down the fort for you. He's going to be the one to lead you to victory every single time. And now Sus Squad facing off against such a juggernaut here today could just be the make it or break it for them because will they be able to rise up to the challenge and go up against Matarazzo is going to be the real question. And speaking of Sus Squad, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on down over onto their team intro and see exactly who's going to be tearing up the server from their end. And Universe talk us right through the squad because they don't need an introduction, but at the same time, they have a lot of consistency problems that we really do need to highlight before we go into the show.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the squad and you have seen them perform before in this the CEC Gauntlet. They've been a squad that has, like you said, consistency problem. They've had their ups and downs. They've kind of, probably had more downs than ups, you would say. Individuality comes to place when you see players like Zoid come into play, right? But there's also times where that same thing turns out to be a little bit of a problem for them because it's those 1v1s that they give out to their opponents that kind of throw them off guard. And also the fact that, sometimes their team executes kind of are a little bit of a hit and miss. They take an opportunity that is presented in front of them, but they don't really nab it to the best of what they can because the opponent throws in these kind of counters that, Sasquatch really doesn't expect because not every team is going to give you the same counter to everything that you're doing, right? Velocity might have a different say in terms of how they're going to attack Sasquatch when they've got to execute coming in. Global Esports could do it differently. Enigma could do it differently. Every team has a different kind of approach to how they attack another team, right? And I think Sasquatch, that's what throws them off because they expect something to come in return, but they get something else. And that's what kind of, gets them off their game a little bit. And that's exactly why they're put into positions where a single player has to take out the round for them and find the avenue where the team as together cannot. So Sasquatch, they do have their problems, but if they're able to power through today, at least with one map in their hands, then I think they might just have a chance. But even to get that one map is not going to be an easy task.
Now let's see who's going to be doing a lot more of the heavy lifting here. Coming on down through from the side of Sus Squad, ladies and gentlemen, as we head on down over towards the player spotlight powered by AMD Ryzen Radiant. And at this stage here, Crips, I do believe that Drexshot is an extremely potent Sentinel player, but at the same time, he's been falling just a little bit too short when it comes down to the team playing coordination.
Well, you might not be wrong. These guys have been struggling with their team play a little bit, and usually, whenever the team coordination suffers, the Sentinels take the biggest hit.
Yeah,
They're
that's
the
true.
ones who usually are responsible for backing up their duelists who are playing up front. And because the duelists die, and then the blame is on the Sentinel because they didn't back them up well enough. And they have to probably live outlive their own squad and then, be in that clutch situation when all eyes are on you. And that's even more pressure. So that's unfortunately something that Drixot has to go up against today. And it's not just that. He's up against literally one of the best teams in the country right now. The chance of them winning are already looking not so healthy. But the fact that Drixot isn't on the top of his form makes things even harder. They need to be performing at 100% efficiency to even stand a chance against Team Velocity, let alone take them down.
Yeah, they need to not only be at 100%, they need to go even further beyond and maybe,
Yeah.
pull off 120, 130, 150, maybe even 200 at this point, because going up against Velocity in their new form, especially with Deathmaker making his debut as well, hopefully I do believe, it's going to be quite an interesting quite an interesting fight to say the very least. Will Susquad be able to do it? Because honestly, them being at such a point here, it's really difficult to say the very least. They could just be facing relegation as well, which could just end their streak right then and there. And for the side of Velocity, this is their chance to push themselves forward and go higher up in the board. Because you need to remember something, ladies and gentlemen. If they do lose out here on a 2-0 and not be even able to get 1 point by a miracle's pace, even, because considering Velocity losing out on a 2-0 is something that we don't really expect. It could happen though. They've been having such a really tough set of games moving on down the line throughout this entire tournament, and it could happen once again. And will Susquad be the one to take them down? We don't know just yet, but what we do know is the map video screen, ladies and gentlemen. So let's gonna head out over onto that and see exactly where their teams are gonna be taking us for the first initial battle. And that being Haven right at the start here, Universe, it's gonna be an interesting one to say the very least. Haven, Split, and Bind. This is literally the same pick that we saw for the 4 p.m. game. This is not.
Yeah, it is. It looks like Velocity and the side of Global Esports, kind of have their way today. Split is a map that I think Susquad might just reign a little supreme on, because we've seen them play on that, and they have that judge supremacy that kind of, reigned supreme in the first season, in the first match against Global Esports itself. But that's a story for the past. Right now, we've got Velocity, who have picked up Haven, and we all know how individually potent they are on this map, because they send players towards Garage, they send players towards C, they send players towards B, and they send players towards A, and they get a feel of the map, and they know that their players can get out those 1v1s, what they need. The duels come in pretty much almost always in the favor of Velocity, because they're, well, no, the raw aim duels somehow are just won by these players. They're so confident, they go in for those peaks, and they're always supported somehow. There's either a flash or a two-man peak that comes in from Velocity, and they're always good at it by, approaching Haven in a slow, determined fashion when they're attacking, and when they need to shift it up, they do, and even that works out for them really well. Today, though, we're going to have to see how exactly they're going to take on Susquad, who, well, they have their own witty tactics and wacky, ways to get up out a map. And that could be in terms of, playing unprecedented positions, maybe have shotguns in places. I think that's one way that actually can throw off Velocity, because Velocity are a team that when you have those long range fights, be it against rifles or an operator, usually they take the better of the opponent. So yeah, Haven definitely Velocity's strong suit. Split, I think we can debate a little bit, but Bind again, I don't know if we're gonna see it, but Velocity might just have the upper edge.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting affair to say the very least of how these teams are going to be approaching this matchup. But at the same time, we don't really know what to expect just yet now, do we, ladies and gentlemen? It's going to be quite interesting to say the very least if they're able to win out on map number 1. Susquad, they have their work cut out for them, because if they don't win out on map number 1, map number 2 is going to be even more difficult, because then the pressure is on, your backs are against the wall, and you're going to have that tendency of making a lot more mistakes. Or you could also be a corner dog, where you're going to be literally just plowing your way to trying to brute force your way into the back lines of the side of Velocity. You never know, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, we're just analysts. We're going to be speculating all day long, and the match could be completely different. And speaking of the match, I'm going to be sending these two down over towards the casters desk, ladies and gentlemen, because I know for a fact you're excited back at home, and I know we're just a little bit too late, and you can't wait enough to get into the action already. But for now, we're going to be heading on down over onto a short break, and we'll be back with the real shortly with the LG Ultragear TC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant, after a short word from our sponsors.
Hey guys, welcome back to TEC Gauntlet Season 2, presented by LG Ultragear, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. You guys have your Red Bull QR codes flashing down at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and scan those if you want some nice scans. But let's get into the deal of the day. It's Team Velocity versus Sus Squads, and we're not playing Among Us over here. But if Sus Squads wants to stay among the top 5, they will need to score well today, and they will need to beat Velocity.
Yeah, they most certainly will have to because it's a battle of survival for them, and they really need to get a win over here, Crips. Which I mean, at the farthest, widest reach of my imagination, I would say that it would require a miracle for them. But you know, we've seen some pretty great underdog stories here. We saw Valor beat Global Esports, so hey, why not? Why wouldn't we see Sus Squad beat Velocity? There's you never say never is what I'm gonna give you, and pretty much everybody over here who I think would always love a good underdog story would say the same. And Sus Squad, they've picked a map that I think that they're pretty comfortable with, given the fact that Split is a map that I've seen them play multiple times, as a map that they've picked multiple times, and you know they've had pretty decent success as well. So I should expect them to give a tougher fight in Split than in Haven. But I really hope that you know they have something in store for us in Haven, because if they do want to win this one out, then they're gonna have to put in all of their cards in both of the maps. But considering the amount of force that Velocity have, I don't know how this is gonna pan out.
I think Bind is gonna be even more chaotic than Split, but that's a big if we ever go to the
Yeah.
map number 3. I think Velocity have it in them to end this game in a 2-0 fashion. But yep, you are right. The chances of Sus Squad winning a game are actually higher on Split than they are on Haven. The fact that Velocity plays such a diverse playstyle on Haven kind of
Mm-hmm.
facilitates their whole thing, where these guys can do whatever they want in a variety of strats and still get away with it without being red. So without further ado, let's just jump into the agent selection and see what these guys have in store for us today.
All right, as we move in, we've got the Sova already being locked in by the Sova main himself, right to Ace, and we got everybody's favorite, who they're all waiting for. Look who it is, Crips. It's Deathmaker. He's been off for quite a while, like a vacation, just like you. And just when you came back, maybe okay. Did you guys go together or something, huh?
That's a secret that will die with me. Either
Okay,
way,
okay.
I think everyone will be pretty excited to see Deathmaker on the server. He's gonna be replacing MW1 for this game, and he's picked up the Jet. There is Vibhor as well, playing a Sky this time around instead of his regular
Mm-hmm.
Sentinel. Marzel's the one who's playing with the Sentinel, so that's pretty exciting. Hellfighter, as usual, on the Astra, right to Ace as always on the server. Marzel has been playing a lot of roles these days, and now he decided to pick up the Killjoy, and Vibhor is probably going to play a little more aggressively than we are used to seeing him. But on the other side, we have a KO.
Ooh, okay.
All
Choose your
right.
agent.
For those of you wondering who's cringy over here, he's basically Drake and
Yeah.
Gagaga is basically Chops. They've
I
changed their
think
names. I don't know for what reason.
Yeah, I think I want to just call out his name. Chobs' his full name is Gaga 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 Gaga. How many times is that? One, two,
Don't
three. I was just messing around. But hey, we got an Astra on both sides. We have a KO in place and also a Sky. So it is a dual initiator for both the sides over here, Crips. And that puts things a little wait, it's a triple initiator. Oh. There's
Okay.
a Sova as well. There's a Sova, Sky, and a KO. I don't think I've ever seen that before. One
Yeah.
controller, three initiators, and one duelist. I mean, where else would you see this lineup? I never expected this from anybody, but hey, it's Sus Squad. We've seen them pull off shotgun plays before and almost give Global Esports a sweat for it. So why not give Velocity a sweat with 3 initiators? Because that's a lot of information. That's a lot of flashes. And, well, let's see how they all work it out.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be playing a lot more aggressively than usual. The lack of a sentinel kind of just makes it irrelevant for them to stay behind. And since they're on the defensive side, one would think that they need a sentinel, but nah, I think they're just gonna play very aggressively towards mids. Let's jump in the game, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I can predict what's gonna happen in the first round already. They're gonna flash out using Zoid's guiding light, and then fight
Mhm.
mid very aggressively after silencing anyone who tries to come through window. And that's exactly what's happening. They're just heading down the corridors of mid. First contact,
Aw.
mid towards this side. Vibor takes a little bit of damage, but falls back. Velocity have now realized that, obviously, with a lineup like this, Team Sus Squad will be looking to play aggressively, but while they were busy showing their presence on the mid area, Velocity creeps into A.
Yeah, they have creeped in, and this is what I love about Velocity. They take pressure on one side, they start shifting their own pressure on the other sides, and they've got a spike down without any effort whatsoever. But Kubrick, he takes down Ryzen immediately. Deathmaker finds one right away with another 3v4 right now. Vibor on the backstab though, 23 HP. That's the only thing I think he can do as Deathmaker. He feeds a few bullets to Zoid, but he eats one in the head himself, and that's going to be his demise. As Helef detained for a while, but he's not going to be able to do anything less than what he already can.
Just
He
stay
just
alive.
has only one star.
Enemy remaining.
Vibor comes on the backstab, gets 2 kills back to back. Helef comes out of the smoke and gets his, and it's going to be Velocity to pull out a pretty convincing pistol round.
That was very well calculated. I love the way how Velocity dealt with that aggression by just simply falling back. They don't want to fight. They don't want to give up early man advantage. And yeah, sure, if Zoid, Kubriks, and Jobs are going to go ahead and try to rush them down, they will anticipate that rush. They won't feed the frags to them. They just needed to buy time for Vibor to come into the perfect position, and he came in at the right time, lined both of them up. And that is how you deal with early mid aggression from the defenders.
Take flight.
You just let them do whatever they want, and then after they are done with their shenanigans, you take the lead. Just like last time. Once again, Kubriks with the mid aggression failed, and instead of being A, they go C this time around, but Velocity have already taken the lead. Now this is looking to be a little bit of a whitewash round, considering that this is just an anti-eco. But there's still some damage that could be dealt from the side of Sasquatch.
Yeah, there could be, but I don't think Deathmaker's gonna let that happen. He runs back to the side knowing that he needs to be healed, and he does get healed. As
One enemy remaining.
Marzel's gonna clean up shop. And right to race with the last kill. The thing about Sus Squad is, though, you know, the approach that you said, I know that you know the mid thing. You know, it's really important for them to take mid because that's the kind of control they have over 2 regions. One is B and Garage as well. And the thing about them having 3 initiators
play
is
some
that
stars
they
in this
really need to play
reality?
aggressively because they can get control in terms of map. And, you know, they've got a recon. They've got, you know, the flashes from Sky. They've got flashes from KO. They've got that knife from KO. And just imagine if all 3 of them push up mid at the same time, the amount of information, the amount of blinding insights that they can get is just, you know, unparalleled. Because Velocity, they can't handle that, and that's exactly why Velocity are playing from literally their spawn.
Yeah, they're being forced to play the defaults, which is good. You don't want a team like Velocity to get a lot of early map control. You keep them passive for as long as possible, hope to boil out the utility and time, and then do whatever you can with whatever you have left for them. For now, Velocity, they don't have the better weaponry. Of course, this being a bonus round. No, not a bonus round. This is actually a full buy round for the side of
Scout
Team
destroyed.
Sasquatch. So they have the better weaponry, and they've got the man advantage at West Point as well.
I've
They
got your
scouted out
trail.
early towards shot, and they've found a couple of people. But now as the utility starts to chime in, the shock guts and the seekers will be deployed, which means two of the Hoopers can only get one. Oh, he might just have a little bit more in store for us, but will be finally shut down by the board. Unfortunately, even though they get to the site, they probably will be a little late to plant.
Last player standing.
Did you see that grenade that Wingy threw in? It was on the hut right there. I'm sorry I noticed that, but right now,
Out of
right to
charges.
Ace is in a clutch situation. 1v2, tries to spray down one, but is not gonna get it. He just gets the dink on to Chops, and it is gonna be Sasquatch to finally pull out a round, but I'm sorry, I kind of got immersed into the fact that, you know, Drixit just threw the grenade and it hit the top of the hut on A, and I saw that and I just could not hold myself back.
Well, funny things will keep on happening, and smiles will be spread across the server. Speaking of smiles, Note
Yeah,
to
that-
producer, please take a look at
You better
Cringy's
run,
crosshair.
Sofa.
Yeah, I was just
A
gonna point
request.
that out.
It looks like a smiley face. Look at Cringy's crosshair. I mean, you don't have to do it right now, but like, yeah, take a look at it later on. Once, he's
He is
holding
a
a judge,
shotgun.
so it doesn't matter this round. Like, do it when he's got like a Spectre or a Phantom or Vandal, something like that. But yeah, that was a little cute thing to notice. Either way, let's stop talking about cute things and let's start talking about wins. We've got Hellfighter with a little bit of thirst for blood. He spotted out his rival Astra, catches him off guard, and that's 2 kills going in the favor of Velocity. One to its A, one to its C. Finally, a little bit of garage aggression will be taken care of, but to what end? C side has already been relinquished. And the lurk fails too.
It most certainly does. Here goes the plan and Velocity in a 4v2. Pretty soon to be a 4v1. And Cringy, yeah, that's about it. You keep peeking on Deathmaker, and he's just gonna punish you for it. And now Kubrick's left all alone. He had the knives in his hands, but he chose not to use it this round. Could have probably been a little more useful to get maybe 2 frags or maybe even 1 to drop a couple of weapons. And now he's left alone, moving in towards the players of Velocity. Kubrick's, I think he's trying to give out a sound cue or whatever it is. He's gonna get Helif coming in. Helif finds him in the air. Not gonna be able to kill him though. And a lot of classic bullets being exchanged over here to burst ranges. It's gonna be Velocity to pull up round number 3. And Haven looking pretty much so far in the control of Velocity, even though Sus Squad have their really sussy lineup of agents.
Yeah, it is a sussy lineup of agents. This is also a sussy crosshair, if you guys noticed what whatever Cringy was doing.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Fricksot, that's his real name. I don't know. Does this kind of creep you out? I don't even know how to make this crosshair, to be honest.
I mean, look, it's a full black figure with like neon face features. That clearly creeps me out. It's like, I don't know, it's like somebody painted a Joker but with green, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the Joker part, but I don't know how to make this crosshair. Which makes me scared. I thought I knew everything there is about Valorant, but clearly this is not my forte. Either way, what BLT find out is that the A side is completely empty and they should be able to take it without any problems.
Yeah, they most certainly will. There's nobody on the A side to stop them from getting that plan down. And there is no Sova ultimate either. So Sus Squad are gonna have to play this on the retake. And they're gonna have to play this a little bit more carefully than they have in the last couple of rounds, because BLT, they've got a very strong hold. Deathmaker waiting for somebody to push on down, but Cringy actually finds Marzo. That's kind of unprecedented, but they're gonna have to deal with it now. Velocity, 4 versus 5. Still a situation that they can handle, nothing far too gone. But as soon as they enter the smoke, they're gonna have a lot of players. Quincy finds another, and Deathmaker to answer back. He's trying to run away, but he's not gonna be able to. Before and Helif add on. Helif gets another with a flank, and he's got the situation in control. He knows that there's gonna be no defuse, and he's fighting it head on. And he doesn't even care that he dies, because he knows this round is well done and dusted. They just gave up. They just gave up.
That was a little comical to say the least.
I mean, you love it when you know everything's gone past the point where you can't ever fix it, and you wish you were a time traveler just like you did. And
Oh yeah, I mean, I had a massive culture shock with me today. I came back after what, like 5 days in total. That's it. It wasn't a very long vacation either. And I see that the whole meta has changed. No, not the meta. I mean, the whole scoreboard's changed. Everyone's losing games which they're not supposed to. Some teams on top, which I would have never expected. So yeah, things are changing, and honestly, I kind of dig that. I like when unexpected things happen in the Gauntlet, and unfortunately, that was a little bit expected. A Sheriff against a Vandal, not really stand a chance, but a Judge, yeah, now you're talking.
Helif, he finds the kill on to Cringy. Now, Sus Squad are losing players a little quickly, though. Zoid holding down C. He's got Deathmaker on the other side. He peeks out. He might just get a jump on him, but he's gonna go to the other side, and he gives up his life to right to Ace. And now they've got a C set all for themselves, unless Kubrick decides to just walk out of the smoke and give themselves a piece of his Marshall. I don't think he's gonna do. But we do see Chops firing out some blanks. Oh, he's spotted Deathmaker, almost gets his kill. Down very low, Deathmaker, but it doesn't even matter because he's holding the weapon of death, the one-shot weapon, and he's gonna use it to take down the penultimate person standing for the side of Sus Squad. And now Kubrick, he might have all of his health intact, but for how long?
I don't think anyone's coming to hunt him down. The velocity economy doesn't look too strong right now, so they can't afford to lose weapons. On the other hand, if they do decide to hunt him down, it's probably going to be pointless because Squad will have a buy in the next round nonetheless. Yeah, and they avoid economic damage. That's what they needed. Only 4 players. I'm sorry. Only 1 kill relinquished to the side of Team Squad, which is a great eco round. You avoid all the damage as possible, and the more you start to keep your players alive, the better your economy starts to build up. And that's why you can see almost everyone on the side of Team VLT right now has more than 3,000 credits. Just Deathmaker, but that's probably because he has to buy the big bad operator, right? And he has to refill all of his abilities and whatnot. So, yeah, that's there. He's the only player with less money, and maybe Vapor, but other than that, we have a mixed buy of sorts from the side of Squad. A Marshall, a Spectre, and a couple of good rifles. Let's see what they do. They have a Cosmic Divide available as well, which should help them out in the retake if they manage to get all the players away from the site. But hey, they've lost the Sova already, and Sova had his Hunter's Fury, so that's a major ultimate loss right now. And this Sova, on the other hand, right to Ace, is getting so much more value. He's spotted out everyone on the Ace site, almost get his heads blown off, but before he's able to get the shot onto Kubrick's well before anything can happen. Deathmaker's already up in heaven. That's not what you would want to have.
One enemy remaining.
That poor guy, no idea where he got shot from. Unfortunately, AZ might just have himself a highlight reel. 2 people lined up for him, a 3rd one followed, and now it's a doable situation. He's got the Cosmic Divide available as well, but the moment he comes out of the Nebula, there's Marzel waiting on the other side.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a scary moment, but Velocity, they lost 3 players, and that's going to hurt their economy just a little bit, because you can see Deathmaker, he's now on just 50 credits, and he's bought off an operator yet again. He can get another one dropped in the next round by the hands of HellF if he wanted, but economy is still going to be hurting for him a little bit, and Vapor just behind him as well. They're still going to be surviving this, though, because Squad are the ones who are hurting more right now. And again, another C execute coming over here, Crips, and looks like they're going to be going in for this pretty quickly, Velocity, this time.
Velocity have 4 ultimates. I'm kind of excited to see how they use it. I think right to Ace might use his Hunter's Fury to clear out the more bomb angles this time, but I don't think that's needed. Marcel's picking up all the kills. He's acting like a duelist today. And Quincy, while he's looking at that recon dot, somebody fails to put a shot onto him, but then the Hunter's Fury might just be able to get a kill or 2.
One enemy
Even though that
remaining.
doesn't happen, the hold is actually phenomenal. I like this from the side of Squad. This was a round they were not supposed to survive. Velocity got the opening picks that they wanted. The recon dot should have been able to get these guys a couple of free kills, and even the Hunter's Fury was supposed to be very impactful, but none of that happened. They survive. A very difficult round, that too.
Yeah, it was a difficult round, and they somehow got past it, and kudos to Squad for doing that. Now, God Velocity thinking a little bit, and Deathmaker has been brought down to a Vandal. And now they're looking to hit A. They've got 4 players over here, leaving HellF alone towards mid to catch off somebody coming in for those aggressive pushes, as Marzel and Vapor are trying to get information for their teams. For their team, excuse me. But here goes down the lockdown, and there comes a Velocity dominating push, probably towards the A side, because there's nothing that can stop this. They have the Hunter's Fury, but they've not used it for some reason, because he was caught over here, unfortunately. Chops, oh no, that's gotta hurt. They could do nothing to stop it, and the plant has gone down now too. And this is another retake in a 4v4 situation where Squad need a little bit more enforcement than just Seekers.
I really hope
I've got your trail.
can be great. But he can't capitalize on it. Managed to silence them for a little bit, but all the utilities keeping the players
One
of
enemy
Squad at bay,
remaining.
and the moment they try to walk inside, it's a meat grinder. Everyone steps into the crosshairs of that deadly, deadly player, and only an exit frag is written in the destiny of Zoid. That's pretty much it. Velocity should be able to get their 7th round.
Out of charges.
The timing was okay-ish from the side of Team Squad, but the moment they deployed their counter utility, there were flashes, there was seekers, there were nanostorm grenades all thrown out by Vibor and Marzel, which basically kept them at bay for a little bit. And then you realize the Squad is running out of time, so they had to make a Hail Mary play and move right inside. yeah, sure, they were able to get the knife deployed and, you know, suppress a couple of people. But other than that, it found nothing. No value, no information. None of the players were flashed. None of the crossfires were broken apart. So it was like walking into a meat grinder. And you know what happens when you get inside a meat grinder? You get shredded to pieces.
You most certainly do, Crips. And Squad felt that firsthand.
Concealment.
And now there's a mid-aggression coming in. Vibor going down his hound pretty early. Spots out one of the players. Goes in with a flash. Gets a clean kill, but gets traded off almost instantly. As right to Ace, actually, he walks into his own death. I'm pretty sure that he saw the grenade over there, but he took the impact of it head on. And Deathmaker,
No
though,
charges left.
he's gonna avenge his death by taking down
You want to
Kubrick's.
fight it?
And the seaside has been open for business. There is Chops, who got a little bit of a tag onto Helef, but he's gonna be surviving it, as there's no damage being dealt on the backs of it. And Velocity, in the 3v3, they're gonna get seaside control, and the plan should be going down any second now.
Spike
Helef puts it
planted.
down, and here's the retake.
Here's my problem. These guys do have a Hunter's Fury, which should clear out all the common angles, but then there's an ultimate available on Cringy as well. He's not going to use it just yet, but they haven't extracted enough value out of the Hunter's Fury. They didn't find enough information. The last two remaining players still on long, and of course they can shut down the Spike Diffuse from here. At this point, they don't even have that Astra available, so they can't even use any Nebulas to cover themselves while they defuse. This might just be a lost round already. Zoida's contemplating saving his weapon. And I don't think he's gonna peek this one. He tries to throw a pistol, you know, just to fake that it's probably a flash or something. This is the kind of stuff we used to see in CSGO, not in Valorant, but he tries it nonetheless. It doesn't work, and Deathmaker is a bit too accurate for it.
Yeah, I mean, he might have taken a break, but he still has his aim pretty much crisp to the point. And Deathmaker causing holes on the side of Squad just as much as any other player is for Velocity. And yeah, it's been a pretty good debut so far, don't you think so, Crips? I mean, pretty decent, I believe.
Yeah, it's a very strong start. And he's leading as well. He's got 9 frags. Actually, almost everyone on the side of Velocity is doing a decent job, but look at the amount of information they're getting. They just walk into the C site while Marzel is busy holding towards B. This guy is a semi-lurker of sorts, and they've given up the C side already. Hey, I have no idea. Cringy, he's still looking towards the garage doorway, having absolutely no idea about Hellfighter's position. And how does this happen? How do Velocity keep on getting free realism every now and then? Unexplainable stuff from the side of Squad over here, but hey, at least they're able to land a couple of shots. At least Zoid landed one nicely onto Vapor, but will be shut down. Wasn't supposed to be there around anyway, it's just an ego. So if he can get a couple of bonus tries, that will be great, but he's not gonna do it. In fact, he was struggling quite a bit. And that might just destroy his ego too.
Last round in the half.
9th on the board for Velocity, and they have taken control of this map of Haven, like pretty much what they expected, I believe. But Squad, I don't think they, you know, pretty much had any sort of response to it. Like we talked about it earlier, when they do something, they expect an you know, a counter to come in, but Velocity Gaming surprisingly are actually not giving it to them. They're not giving them the satisfaction of giving a counter. They're waiting for them to make a move and let them you know, simmer it down a bit, and then Velocity put their cherry on the cake.
Get out of my
and they
way.
say, nah, this is ours for the taking.
That is true. Velocity Gaming are playing it very patiently, and unfortunately, Squad keeps on running into their traps every time. They take their sweet time spreading out across the map. They went near C, Deathmaker got updrafted, made some noise, and then he fell back, which actually prompts AZ to start pushing. And now if AZ can clear out this entire area, I think Team Squad should be able to figure out that the A hit is incoming, and now all the signs are pointing in the same direction. The lockdown is a clear indication of what's about to follow. But will they stay over here and defend the site, or will they just let them have it and play for the retake? I don't think AZ's backstab will be coming in anytime soon, but they've given up the side and the retake is now on. They've got the ultimate of KO available as well, which should make this thing a little bit difficult to deal with, but it's run out, so nobody else will be suppressed. 4 players still alive for the side of Velocity Gaming, and Deathmaker keeps on making it harder and harder. Kubrick finally shuts down Dangerous Player, but they still don't have an advantage. He tries to go downstairs, but right to Ace plucks him off mid-air. No more bird action over here, no more flying, stay on the ground. The other bird that goes through will also be shot down as Velocity are playing Duck Hunt right here.
10-2. What a dominant scoreline so far. I mean, it kind of is almost a little bit, you know, I feel really disheartened by the way that Tusk Squad are not able to counter what exactly Velocity are doing. And you know the thing about that first half? Marzel put down his ultimate, I think, 3 times.
Though,
Three
yeah,
times.
he's been getting a
Yeah.
lot of value.
Yeah.
He's acting like the dual ace. He's sitting on 14 frags and 4 deaths right now. And yes, some of his frags have been straight up entry frags. Some of his kills have been on the B side while he was trying to catch the players of Sus Squad rotating from one place to the other. And he's been able to
don't
find quite a lot of
overthink it.
success at
That's
that.
my
So
job.
whether he's the shield or the sword, he is sharp and deadly nonetheless, no matter what role he takes up.
That is true. He might not be a sage, but he definitely is a battle killjoy at this point. And now Velocity pushing up towards A. Deathmaker has been used for a bait, but it doesn't work. He gets checked, and so does Vibor. Zoid takes down both of them, and AZ finds right to Ace. Marzel's location has been spotted out, but Quincy doesn't turn back to get the kill. And now the spike is in Marzel's
Spike
hands.
down mid. Last player standing.
Marcel got the spike, but his location has been revealed. He's very low on HP. He's got no more utilities available. Maybe a couple of consolation frags is all he will get, but Zoid will deny everything. The flashes from Zoid were perfect this round. He was the one responsible for shutting down the aggression from Deathmaker and Vibor on A long. And after that, he was the one who got that final nail in the coffin as well. So with this pistol round victory, I think Sus Squad will be able to keep themselves alive in this game for a couple more rounds. But hey, will those couple rounds be just a couple rounds, or will they be a little bit more than that? That depends on what Velocity does in the next round. For now, they're just gonna be on an equal, and this is most likely a throwaway round for the side of Velocity.
Yeah, they're probably gonna try and get some, you know, residual frags if they can get any. Deathmaker peeking on towards mid from B. Got a few players running in towards his direction, and you might just find one head if he's lucky. But AZ's actually found 2. Tries to dash back, and Quincy finds Vibor instead of him. The positions have been given away right to Ace and Deathmaker. Both are gonna get hunted down over here by Cringy as he gets a 3K. And it's, like you said, cleanup round as Sus Squad put up the 4th on the board. But here's where the real test starts, boys. We've got Velocity with full weaponry and utility coming right at you. And you have Spectres to face off. So they really need to make a good decision as to where they want to go now, Crips, because long-range fights aren't going to work anymore against these people who've been practically bullying them the first half with these long-range fights, haven't they?
Yeah, this is a little bit like stealing lunch money in the office canteen. And I say office canteen because we're all grown-ups over here. No more school business. So yeah, it's that level of bullying. This is adult bullying, the kind of stuff you see only in movies. But no, Deathmaker, he has himself a highlight movie ready.
Spike down A.
Forget Bollywood, this guy's pulling off all the stunts right here.
I mean, you want to call him Hrithik Roshan, you want to call him John Abraham, whatever you want to call him. Don't call him on this. Don't call him on the service of Valorant against you, because he's got your phone number before you can get his, and he's gonna call it, and he's gonna make sure that you are taken down. Now Mars is gonna take down Cringy.
One
You're
enemy
probably
remaining.
yeah, last man standing.
Flawless.
Yeah, he's got players lingering about every single position that he can think of, and he's got hell have to take him up from right up in the front of his face. And it's 11th on the board for Velocity as the side of Velocity have actually, you know, it looks like they're almost too comfortable, Crips, because they're going head on, no flashes whatsoever. You could see Deathmaker completely rattling up the A-short position. He did not need any support. He just went, got 2 kills, got back.
Exactly. He's able to get away with murder. The other people also, they're doing whatever they want. Velocity is getting a free reign over this map. And if you allow them to do whatever they want, you will be in trouble. Or this time peeking out alongside Marzel, both of them are able to win the duels and swing them in their favor. And while all of this is happening, Deathmaker is already behind them. He probably must have gone all the way sprinting past them, but no, he doesn't get that shot onto AZ. Flicks around 180 degrees and gets the kill onto Deathmaker. That was a very big frag. And now he's got himself an opportunity which he should capitalize
I've
on,
got
and
your
Zoid will
trail.
not let his efforts go to waste either. They're getting the kills onto every member of Team Velocity, and with the Seekers right now, they should be able to pinpoint the locations of the last two players. They realize the A site might be empty. Right to Ace might be the only person who can stop them over here, but he won't be able to stop all three of them, especially when they're fully healed up. Spike will go down. Nothing to stop them for now. Except maybe the shot that can damage him, but he overextends straight into the other Sova's crosshairs.
Ah,
Spike
LF
planted.
left alone. Velocity got a little too greedy, and they paid the price for it. It's another round in the hands of Sus Squad, which should be going any second now, unless Helaf has something to say about it. He's been spotted out now as well, and he throws down his pistol, which I'm pretty sure the player under him would have spotted. And he's not gonna have to worry too much because Chobbs is gonna take him down. And number 5 for Sus Squad. Valiant effort, but still very, very far away from where they would want to be. Because even if they win out this round, which could possibly be one looking at the side of things of their economy for Velocity, they're going to probably win out another one and make it 11-7 at most. There's still a 4-round gap that Velocity are going to breathe into because they know that they can turn around the tide if they want to. They just need to do something a little different, and Sus Squad are not going to see it coming.
Well, at least they're seeing all this aggression towards mid coming, so that's why they're putting up the knife and trying to suppress everyone over
Blocking
there.
vision.
What it also does is kind of disable Killjoy utility and the Astra utility over there, so if they can capitalize on this one while the alarm bots and the nanostorm grenades are still inactive, it will be great. But I think they're back online now, so they're gonna take it slowly. Drone to clear out the common places, and it doesn't spot anyone in the site. This is a clear indication that Velocity are playing B for the retake. This should allow them to go ahead and plant the spike, maybe get away and dash back to safety. They only need to be careful about backstab, which I think Wendy's already taken care of. Definitely a sharp this time. Won't let anything like last round happen again. But unfortunately, AC, while he was able to get a 180-degree flick shot onto Deathmaker last time, eats a bullet from Marzel now. Early aggression pans out in the favor of Velocity, gives them the men advantage, and for now, Team Sus Squad are gonna fall back from the B side and spread out once again. Unfortunately, I don't like this spread. They're going all by themselves. They have zero trading potential over here. They might just be able to find more information this way if they split up, but if they can't find the kills and equalize the man advantage, then it really doesn't matter. Plus, there's only 30 seconds remaining, and they have no information to go off on. They can probably just rush towards the C side and hope it works for the best. But hey, there's no guarantees, and now their jig is up. The rotations are already on the way. I think Hellfighter just needs to stay alive over here and wait for his teammates to come back in. He will be able to get a kill, which is great, but the man advantage still lies with
10
Velocity.
seconds left.
Oh no, now it doesn't anymore. Gaga changes things around, and these guys are about to get sandwiched from C-Long, and the defenders spawn entering. Right to Ace with the best position, boiled him down to 27 HP. Single bullet should be enough to finish the job, and Vibor is up for the task.
A round that could have probably gone a little down south for Velocity is clutched out by Vibor. It could have been really difficult for Velocity to come back from that if they would have lost another player. But Vibor is right there to clutch it out as LF, he almost rotated back. You saw that, right, Quips? He almost rotated back in the last second. But then he said, nah, let me just check one more time. And that moment of decision was what helped Velocity gain the information that they needed, that the C side is going to be a target right now. And Helef did one job and one job only, and that was to get one kill. And even though he got traded off, it was Velocity Gaming's last two members left who had the perfect attack to get that post-plan position. Sorry, the retake coming in. And now, the match point in their favor, Marzel eats a bullet straight to his head. And it's going to be 59 HP for him probably for the rest of the round unless he gets healed. As Deathmaker. Ooh, this is gonna be really scary. Another flank coming in. Marzel gets one. Deathmaker with another. And just like that, Sus Squad are falling apart one by one. As he's got now the Phantom in his hands. Does not get the kill onto Quincy, but does tag him down to 20 HP. And Sus Squad are gonna be feeling the heat now as Velocity are turning up the afterburners.
Turning up the afterburners, the nitros, and oh my god, I don't even know what to call this one. This is probably just a turbocharged, just laser beams raining down at you. And they're always able to get a kill. If not, at least deal quite a lot of damage. Just cringy left in a battle for survival. Barely any HP to work with, but this might just be the end of him. And he's getting pummeled. Just
Defenders win.
that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Velocity Gaming take a very quick victory in map number 1. It was a pretty decent approach by them as well. I mean, at one point we saw Team Velocity trying to battle from Garage and B entrance right at the start of the round, and the only thing that was causing a problem to them was that knife from KO that was suppressing them every time and forcing them to unaggress, if that is a word. Deathmaker was still somehow managing to go down mid and climb into window and whatnot, and he did that a couple of times, and they started to prepare for it. So that's why Deathmaker decided to push down the C-long corridor in this round, the last round, and nobody saw that coming. That's a position that Deathmaker had never played aggressively from before. So you see, Velocity keep on pushing out one of their players every now and then, getting the backstab online quickly, making sure that they wrap around from both the sides of Sus Squad, and they were just not able to deal with the variety. There were just so many plays that Velocity was making, and in such great variance too. It takes a mega brain to come up with the defense system for even one of those strats. Forget when you're literally changing the strat every round.
Yeah, that is true. But you know, the thing about this entire match was the fact that they had a really, kind of wacky lineup. They had 3 initiators, which they could have actually used pretty much more so, in variable manners than they did, because they had a Sky who had a hound that could get information. They had a Sova's owl drone, which further pushes people back, right? As soon as they hear these sounds coming in, they move back. And not to forget, they even have the Chaos knife that could suppress them when they're moving back. That clears out so many avenues, right? And they just couldn't use it to the best of their abilities because, well, clearly we can see that Velocity were dominating throughout the entire half. But hey, what's happened has happened, and we have seen Haven gone down, and it's Velocity to come on top and reign supreme. Now we're gonna go to what seems like a map that Sus Squad are now desperate to win. We're gonna have to see Split come down, and whether or not Sus Squad are gonna win on their home map is a thing for us to see. We're gonna be back with a short break, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go anywhere as Velocity look to take this to a 0.
Hey guys, welcome back to LG Ultragear presents TC Gauntlet Season 2 powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. You guys are watching Velocity go up against Sasquad, and Velocity have already taken the W on Haven. They won with a scoreline of 13-5. Let's take a look at what maps are up for them next. We do have Split and Bind. Split was picked up by Sasquad and Bind was left over, but in both those matches, Velocity are starting on defense. Now, we already saw what their defense looks like in Haven. They were pretty aggressive. They were pushing out from almost every side whenever they got the chance or whenever one particular area was left uncontested. Velocity are like water. If they find a way to go somewhere, they will go down that corridor. They will take that place. If it occupies no space, they will take it. That's what Velocity is like. They're fluid, they're dynamic, and they're very difficult to deal with. And once you enter their puddles, you will drown. That's what Sasquad was. They were overwhelmed by the amount of angles that Velocity was fighting them from. And that is basically Haven in a nutshell. Now, Split, by default, by its structure, does not allow flanking to be that successful as Haven. So will Velocity still be able to repeat their success on it, or does Sasquad actually stand a chance this time around?
I'm not quite sure, Crips, because Sasquatch, they might have their, thing about Split being a very close-ended, dynamic, in-your-face kind of map. But hey, it all depends on what they're going to be choosing to play against Velocity, all of the agents. And let's look at what they're going to be choosing as we head into the agent selection screen. And both of the teams are up and running to get this into play. Zoid picks up the Reyna right off the bat. We got Cringy to follow up with a Raze. So it's a very dominant duelist setup over here. Kubricks floating around with the Viper. Not a bad choice on Split, but I want to be. interested to see if he's going to choose it or not. On the other side of things, Deathmaker, again, going for the Jet. We all know how good he is at it. And this time, Vibor is going to be the one playing on the Killjoy, as we've got Right to Waste with the Sky and Helef with the Astra. And it's going to be a little bit of a controller difference over here. So, little interesting lineup on both of these sides. Oh, there it is. It's a Jet and Raze versus a Reyna and Raze.
All right, so no Jet available on the side of Sus Squad, but they have two healers on their team, the Sage and the Sky. The Sky being the common character of both the teams over here, basically will be acting as the initiator. No lockdown type sentinel available on the side of Sus Squad. They have a Sage who can use walls, which is great on split, but then that's lacking on the side of Team Velocity. They have the Killjoy instead in the hands of Vapor, and this guy's an absolute beast with it. The other difference is the Omen versus the Astra. Now, Astra can clear out a lot more angles, but the Omen on the defensive side can put up one-way smokes, which are amazing. That's something that Astra cannot do. Unfortunately, this poor Omen is starting on the attacking side and not defense, so those one-ways probably won't be as useful now.
Yeah, they probably won't be. It is a little bit, you know, a dynamic situation that I think comes as a difference between Astra's skill set and Omen's, because Omen is more of a mobility type of controller. You know, he can teleport left and right. He can go from side to side with his ultimate. But Astra, she's more of a team support kind of a controller. Let's jump into game right now as we're talking about this, because we know that Astra is an agent that sets up the team for success, but Omen is an agent that can set himself up for success as well as his team. So yeah, it is a bit of a difference that comes into the controllers, but we're gonna have to see how it all turns out, as the mid position is being contested pretty early on, as Quincy throws down his boombot and he's got players coming in towards B Heaven with him.
Oh, unfortunately, the paranoia is wasted. That could have been the perfect setup to get inside the B Heavens area, but all the counter utility by VLT keeps them at bay, and now they've got a kill as well and a backstab. That's like bonus, but Zoid turns around to slap Deathmaker. That's the flanker Delphin now, and all these players deal with the crossfire between the player inside of Heaven.
Down mid.
Before, unfortunately, overextends his welcome, and he will be taken down for it. But with this, an opening has been created towards the A side, and if they're quick enough, they can beat the BLT to the punch. But they take a step back, and now they're going towards B. Fake sold, VLT out of position, site captured.
Captured indeed, but what they don't know is Helef is right on their tail, and he might. Oh no! He thought that was gonna be a kill, but just a dink. Zoid is gonna go down anyhow though, as Chops finds one kill now in the 1v1. Right to where it's left against AZ. It's gonna be AZ to come up on top as he gets the kill, and it's gonna be the side of Sus Squad to pull out the pistol for themselves, as it was a little bit of a problem for VLT to hold on for some reason. The mid region heavily contested, kills going back and forth, and Vibor kind of, you know, did what he could, but slipped up in the end over there because he had just too many players to face off. But nonetheless, it's not going to be a problem, as Velocity have got, you know, everything that they need further on in the third round, maybe fourth, whenever it is that they choose to buy in. Right now, though, they are definitely going to be in eco, except for one Marshall.
Let's see what this Marshall can do. In the hands of Vibor, so not even in a position to defend with it. And all the utility itself is enough to deal all the damage to VLT. They don't even need the gun.
Oh no?
With nades, no problem. You'll still be able to win the round, but Marshall is doing quite a lot with that classic. 2 dinks and a kill.
One enemy
That's
remaining.
more than enough. More than what you signed up for. Now the last player has the bigger weapon. This could be expensive. Only 2 kills conceded. Economic damage somewhat avoided. They're still able to hold on to 2 Phantoms, which is the big deal. Those are the 2 weapons they needed to save. Everyone else can still continue with the Spectres and whatever else they can muster up. It will still be a bonus round for the side of Sus Squad. But with VLT having all the weapons, let's see if they're able to win this one or not. If they can string these rounds together, then they might just have a chance to not just take a 3-0 lead, but also a 4-0 lead. Because if Velocity lose this, they will have to eco next. That's what the win condition for Sus Squad is like. They don't just need to win rounds. They need to win rounds in a row and start chaining them together so that they can actually start building up a bank.
Yeah, it's all about the momentum now here. They need to get it going, just like you said, Crips. And it looks like towards mid is what they're going to try to do the same. Zoid's already found Deathmaker, and that's going to throw things a little bit into a mix as Velocity are going to try and reconvene their positions and find what they can do best in the situation, as the side of Sus Squad are now aggressing with Chops pushing on towards A Heavens, right to Ace, eats a flash, but he's going to survive. Nobody peeks out. There is a Killjoy alarm bot there that Chops is not really triggered, and he's going to get the advantage to himself as he does not trigger it because of the wall. What they don't know is that Vapor is somewhere around here. They don't exactly know where he is, and he's gonna punish him for it. One is all he's gonna find as Chops finds one of his own, takes him down, and again it is Helef left alone in a 1v4, and he's chosen immediately to go save, but Chops doesn't look like he wants him to do that.
Too easy, too easy.
Well, it's just a bunch of constellation frags for Hellfighter right now as he tries to negate the economic advantage on the side of Sus Squad. But I think this is a lost cause anyway. Poor Deathmaker, he's been having a bad game so far. I mean, it's only been 3 rounds, but in the first round, his backstab from Sewers was completely butchered. The second round, unfortunately, he got turned around and slapped, and even this time around, as he was trying to play for a cheeky position in a 1-on-1 angle of sorts, he was immediately dealt with. He wasn't even given a chance to dash back to safety. So yeah, that's not been working out for the side of VLT anymore. Although mid-aggression, it actually pans out for Sus Squad and nets them more than just control. It gets them kills as well because VLT are keen on fighting them again and again. So they get mid-control as well, they get a couple of kills as well, and after that, Sus Squad have everything they need to go wherever they want. Even if they decide to abandon mid for a bit, and then rely on Garaga, who is actually Jobs, by the way, to climb up a ramp and get that cheeky kill onto Ace. It will be perfect, because then they can move in via the rope room towards A. Everything works out. It's like clockwork, and they have a chance to once again have a flawless round. The only person who could stop this was Hellfighter, because he's got the only weapon. But then Bigger, the 2 dudes from Kolkata, have just such precise aim. They're able to destroy everyone who comes through. The sheriffs will start to sing the songs of death. Unfortunately, Deathmaker will be taken care of. I would have loved it if Ryzen was able to block him off mid-air, but on the ground is still fine. And Hellfighter chimes in. What's going on? They're getting all the eco frags, and Felicity wins. They pull off a thrifty.
Satchel out.
Now that is something to be adored. Velocity. We know that they are pretty good, but this is an example of how good they can be. With just a few weapons and a little bit of utility usage, this is what they can completely unleash on the opponent. What a round from them. They held that A side down to perfection, and they put up number 1 on the board for themselves. And the thing about this side of Velocity is you never know what to expect, right? You think you've got them on the ropes, and then you push into them, put in pressure, but that's exactly when they decide to strike back, and they do it well that it kind of, you know, hits them really hard. Yeah.
Well, let's see if they're able to survive these hits. One does often learn from all the Rocky movies that it's not about how hard you can punch, but how often you can get back up after getting punched. Now, these guys have only lost 1 round, so Sus Squad still have a chance of making a comeback. But their weapons are a little unorthodox. A Judge, a Spectre, and a couple of Vandals and Phantoms. Yeah, that's not really right, but Cringy going down those corridors with a Judge will definitely be able to reign supreme over right to Ace. The Judge absolutely shreds it this way, but not when he goes down this slowly. Gives right to Ace another chance, and he survives at 13 HP, which means he can heal up his teammates too. After they've lost their only player towards mid, it's just down to Kubrick's, and he isn't even looking to come up from mid. He's just probably hoping that there's no backstabs. Everyone else tries to move in from the side. They've put down the network across the A ramps, and then hopefully be able to stop the rotations from there. But we have Marcel present. His Rachel actually does quite a lot more damage than one would have expected, so that's value being extracted. But now they take a U-turn down the roof room, up into the heavens, and Kubrick leads the charge once again, only to be shut down by Vapor on his alarm bot. Barely any time left. They need to get the kills and the plant, but what on earth? Marcel, even though he's been shut down by the wall, he's able to get a couple of kills with the paint shells. This is just a very funny way to lose the round. Velocity, they're able to win 2 rounds in a row. And both those rounds were economically destructive for the side of Sus Squad.
Oh, it more so was Cribs, but that satchel kill is kind of a cherry on top of the
That's
cake.
just-
I love it.
I know, it's like kicking a player when he's down. It's just such a dirty way to get a kill.
I mean, I don't think Marcel was looking for a kill. Maybe he just wanted to inflict damage or maybe get them off their positions, whatever it is. But he's going to be happy, more than happy, with the
Yeah.
kill coming on the back of it. And now Saw Squad, they're running in towards mid again, but this time with an eco, as they've got shares across the board except for Zoid. He's got a Vandal in his hands, and no armor on the back of it either to support himself. The Velocity, they've got more than what they need. And Marzel's challenging them upon mid as he's throwing down his utility, trying to get some chipping damage as much as he can so that he can just drain them out. And he's gonna take down another head. Make that a third? No, it's gonna be Chops to find him. As Zoid, with his only weapon that is there on the side of Sasquatch, is gonna actually find success. The board goes down and he heals himself up to
Here.
50. Deathmaker misses his shot towards mid. Uncommon of him.
You will not kill
Now
my
here comes the
allies.
revive. Okay, it's getting a little bit too interesting over here. Velocity are kind of falling apart, but I don't think they would want to. Zoid actually finds Deathmaker. And oh my god, the B side has been completely opened up by Zoid and Zoid only.
Look at that.
Right Trace is gonna trade back. Finally, one person
Spike
goes down. It's gonna be cringy. But the plan has gone down, Crips, and this retake is looking a lot more difficult than it did in the starting of this round.
Zoid's position's been revealed, so Ace knows at least one of the positions. Two more players left to be found. They're clearing all the angles methodically. One random shot has been fired from the side. This could act as a bait, and Zoid is deliberately revealing his position every now and then, only to come back inside. You can already see the flash primed in the hands of the Sky, ready to swing, and they both do it at the same time. But what? Ace survives that encounter? How is that possible? Now it's a 2v2, and they've got enough time. They should be able to isolate these frags, and they win all the fights. A 2 versus 3 clutch from the side of Velocity Gaming. What a way to negate all the damage that was done in this
Defend this
round.
place all.
It was a very
Wow.
expensive
This
round for both the
reality.
teams. I mean, Team Sasquatch, they had to invest the Resurrection, they had to invest the Seekers as well. After they found that kill onto Marzel, they had the weapons to work with, but unfortunately, even with all the perfect strategies, even with the perfect flash lineups, and a very good rotation, it wasn't enough. Velocity pull off the 2v3 clutch. I just don't know how.
Placing
The
sentry.
flashes failed. Ace had his eyes open and he's able to get a kill when he's supposed to be completely blind and bird watching.
Those flashes were what probably got them the round, because if Ace wasn't alive and he did not have those flashes intact, probably would have been a lot more difficult than it was. And now the side of Sasquatch again towards the mid position, Crips. And this time Marzel eats a lot of bullets and he's gonna go back. He knows that he cannot take this fight anymore. And even that hound jumping on his face could kill him at this point. He's got right to ways to heal him, and Deathmaker this time does not miss his shot.
And he was holding a very off angle too, so nobody would expect him on the top of that box at the bottom of the rope room. It's a little ironic over there, but you wouldn't expect an operator to be in such a close position, right? That's the kind of position that
Yeah.
usually a judge player holds, not an operator. So yeah, you would definitely be surprised. But the best part is he can double up onto a ramp over here in case they decide to circle back that side. The spike's still down at the bottom, but Bigfoot is already behind them. He takes one more player as well, and Marzel to finish him off. Spike's cut loose, they know where the last player is, and they all will converge upon him.
Satchel out.
At least AZ can run away with his ultimate, but he probably doesn't want to do that. The satchel displaces him, and then right to it, he decapitates him.
Velocity have the lead back after putting up quite a few rounds. They have what they need. 4 rounds in succession. Economy for days. Putting down Sasquatch's economy for as much as they can, because look at the side of Velocity. Each one of them is going to probably go up to at least 7 grand of credits if, you know, they win out this round. Even if they lose, it's still going to be money in the bank for days, because minimum of whatever everyone's got is 5,300, and that's on the board. So it looks like it's a day for Killjoy today, Crips, isn't it? Because both the Killjoys have been fragging out, but here comes the ultimate, and the counter ultimate on that as well, and it's going to be Marzel to win this duel. What a guy. He gets the kill on the back of it as well. Marzel, I don't even know how you did that, but he did that to almost perfection. Throws on the boom at the right time. Grenade as well, and is... Oh my god, the amount of damage this guy's given to the side of Sasquatch is something that they definitely can't take back. Make that a third, goes for a fourth, but he's done just about enough. And now it's the time for the Skies to come ahead and exchange utility after the Razors have got their share of the things.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, definitely. This has been a round of very beautiful exchanges. Both the Razes using their showstoppers against each other, and then the Skies throwing flashes at each other. Just like holding up a mirror. Unfortunately, it's not a pretty sight when you're this ugly. Both the teams just throwing utility at each other, hoping that it will get them something or the other. But Marzel is the one who proves he's the better Raze this time around. So that's a diff against Cringy right there. Who, if you guys are wondering, Cringy, by the way, is Darexot, and Gakaga is basically Jobs. I don't know why they changed their names, but Velocity doesn't matter who they're up against. Doesn't matter what they're called. They will call names and kick ass. This time, a very fast aggression towards the B side will force all the players of Velocity to fall back and play from their default positions. No control of B garages, but that's okay. They're completely fine with it. As long as they can hold down to this area, this should be fine. The paranoia is great, but the barrier up actually protects Ace, and it helps him stay alive. He's been forced back to meet with Hellfighter, and both of them still very much in control of the B side. But after expending so much utility, now Sasquatch tries to fall back. They have almost nothing left to make the execute work on the A side if they decide to go for a fake. But hold on, this is a double fake. They make one as a B, they go away for like 10 seconds, which kind of will make Velocity think that they're going back towards the A side, but then they hit B again. This isn't 200 IQ, but hey, I will give it like 150 or something. Let's see if it actually works, because they have barely any utility left. 35 seconds on the clock. This is very little time to go for a full execute. There is a Omen landing right on top of him, but Hellfighter doesn't care. He's got more than enough. He should be able to get at least one, but now he's strapped. Yeah, that from the shadows was able to net in the kill onto Hellfighter, and a double onto Rise to Ace, but that's pretty much all what she wrote for the side of Team Sasquatch.
6-3 around that. I really think that was denied by just one thing, and that was, I think, right to Ace. He was really close to the wall when it was going up from the hands of the Sage, right? Chops put down the wall, and right to Ace, just because he was at the very edge of it, it broke down two of the barrier orbs. And when it did that, they completely denied their push because they had no cover. They knew that Heaven was exposed, they knew that somebody could come peek out from there, and they had no wall to cover them, so they completely stopped their rotation, and they also knew that somebody's backside, and that's Helif. So, a completely denied push towards B, and even in the end, when they did try it, Helif said no by spraying down two people, and then the rest of the VLT boys did the job what they needed to.
And Marzel is doing his job. Shows up to office on time, finishes all the work, and he wants to go back home for an early dinner. Oh, Deathmaker with an op, and this time he's really aggressively from mid, so everything's looking up for the side of Team VLT as Sasquatch have barely any weapons. And even with an eco round like this, they're gonna try to go for a split approach. Spike still at the bottom of mid and market. Two people trying to creep up towards a ramp. Not sure if this will be successful.
See ya.
No jiggle peeking Zoid. No jiggle peeking against Deathmaker. Doesn't work. But
Absolutely
consider
not.
this. Consider this. In an eco round, you would usually expect all the teams to play very, very quickly and very aggressively, but that's not something that Sasquatch are doing, which is very surprising to me. They've done this in the past, you know, when they play super aggressively in the eco rounds, but this is such a different vibe. It feels like a completely different team. Let's see if it actually helps them or not. Once again, we have Jobs just waiting outside of
30
A-ramps,
seconds
a
left.
position from where he was able to get the kill onto right to Ace last time around, but this time there's no more surprise.
One
Spikes
enemy
pick up,
remaining.
lose, everyone's
Spike
dying.
down.
Basically done and dusted.
Chops, he will find one kill. And that was the back of the Burst Classic, but no more. As Velocity put up 7 on the board, and since they've lost those 3, they haven't looked back, and they've put 7 on the board back to back to back, Crips. And I don't know how much this is gonna hurt the side of Sasquatch in the long run, because it looks like it's gonna be another dominating half. If not 10-2, might just be a 9-3 by the looks of it. And the curse, I don't know how far it holds true, but Velocity, I'm pretty sure they will not want to believe in it. And Sasquatch will probably want to pray for all their might that the curse comes true, okay?
Curses, blessing, all sorts of witchcraft. That's what Team Sasquatch will need in order to win this round. And they need to win these. Shadows. Velocity already have the lead in the half, so no matter what happens, they will be happy after this. but they probably want to make it a 7-5. They don't want Velocity to run away with a massive lead like last time. What was the score in the last game? 10-2?
10-2, yeah,
it
it was
10-2?
10-2.
Yeah, it was 10-2.
Yeah.
At least it won't be that bad, but hey, it shouldn't be 9-3 either. That's not good. Barely a minute left on the clock, and luckily for them, they haven't started making a move. So all of them are gonna just line up outside of A, and then start to move inside. Dark cover haven't been placed yet, which means Deathmaker can still see. And with his eyes open, he is a deadly force to be reckoned with. More to follow as they're trying to climb up, but the site's already been leaked inside as Cringy with the shackles, he's able to get there. And now his team is in a little bit of trouble because the spike hasn't arrived, but he has, and now he's trapped at the site. That is basically it. Nowhere to run, nowhere left to hide. Everyone converges upon you, and that is it. Velocity have destroyed the economy.
Last round before the switch.
It pretty much has, as we're heading into the last round of this first half of Split. It's been quite a bit of a dominant one. Velocity have got their things under control. They've got even Sasquatch under control at times, I would say. Because, well, the way that they've been playing after, you know, they got their second buy round, I believe, they've just not stopped. And they've been absolutely decimating the side of Sasquatch, as now we've got an A push coming in with Zoid, the only one towards B, probably trying to sell a fake, but I don't know what exactly they're trying to achieve over here. They've left Zoid alone over there, and he's made sound over there, while the side of Sasquatch have made sound here as well, and the sound is gonna get probably deleted. We're bored with the operator, not a usual sight, but Deathmaker's there to support him. Zoid goes on the other side of the map, so there's nothing they need to worry about B at this point. But the A side is getting a little bit too dicey. There's gonna be a fight over here between Right to Ace and Cringy's gonna win it with just one shot, because he's got that superior weapon. And now Deathmaker, along with Helef, we know that these two go way back. Now, can they go into the side and show how deep their friendship runs by getting a perfectly coordinated okay, great. I lost my words. Retake.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's a 2v3. The operator not the best weapon in a situation like this, especially when you have to clear crossfires. But hey, let's see if Deathmaker's able to win this one. No, answers no. Hellfight is still gonna go for this. It's the last round, so no point saving. Might as well get yourself a nice highlight reel. One position discovered. That's good. Bricks setting up the bait. Hard chops, but AZ will be the one to shut him down. Hey, you know what? An 8-4 is actually pretty good. So much better than 10-2 and 9-3. So Sasquatch still have a little bit of a lifeline.
I mean, it is a lifeline if I would say that Velocity would give it to them, because if they win out this pistol, then it's going to be another, you know, dominating half from them, because they're going to have people running all about Riot, because now they've got Deathmaker and Marzel on the attack, and Marzel has more so been very effective with his utility as much as he has been with his aim. So I'd be scared right now if I was Sasquatch, especially watching Marzel come into my screen, because he's going to be a little more dangerous on the attacking side than he was on the defensive.
Well, for the sake of Velocity, I hope you're correct. For the sake of Sasquatch, I hope they win the pistol. They gotta take it step by step. Baby steps, that too. Win the pistol, then the anti-eco, then the bonus, and then the full buy round. And that will lead you to 8-8. But Deathmaker on a very silent streak. He almost reaches screens.
How
Undetected.
in the world? How? Wait, what?
I know, right? Nobody knows this. They find Marzel. I'm sorry, not Marzel. That's Hellfighter, but that's completely okay.
Here.
And now Zoid will be abusing the living hell out of
no.
Cringy, asking him how on earth did he let Deathmaker leak out of there. The A side's completely liberated. The spike's making its way.
Here.
And Deathmaker, he's done his job, but he can do more. He can still delay the retake before it even begins by getting a couple of kills onto the players on screens. He's got backup now too in the form of Ace, who will probably plant the spike out in the open. Oh no, he won't do that. The Nebula's about to fade, so that's not a wise choice. And
30
either way,
seconds left.
he heals up Deathmaker, so he's again ready for the beating. Marzel also very aggressively looking to pick up fights, but the two of those have been dealt with, leaving the other three in the site. The crossfire isn't that great, but oh my
no.
lord, Kubrick, that's a very embarrassing way to die as he sprays the frenzy to no avail. It's just AZ left. They
Reckless.
don't even need a line of sight.
What
Yep.
Kubrick's did was just reckless. I mean, I know that the frenzy is a burst weapon. You just, burst onto somebody's face, but I think he started spraying it a little too early. I think he should have waited until he dropped down, and then maybe he actually could have gotten the aim and the kill, because it's just 13 bullets. How long do you think it's gonna last? It's not gonna last as long as a Vandal or Phantom that you can keep spraying for infinity, you know?
Well,
What-
the only weapon I know that can spray for almost infinity is Odin. And hey, if things go south, if these guys start getting desperate, we might just see some Odins as well. We've seen Sasquatch play with the judges before, so why not Odins?
Oh, that's gonna
Shorties-
hurt.
Yeah, it is. The shorties don't give you any advantage. Unfortunately, he got bit by that dog just as he was about to fire the second shot off that shorty, so doesn't even get to do that. But hey, this is an eco round, so Velocity will still be just looking to make quick work out of this.
Yeah, Vibor, he faked out the plan for some
Spike
reason, maybe
planted.
some 8 times. And it's probably waiting for a kill, but it's gonna be actually Chop to get it. He makes Marzel go ga, clearly, because he didn't expect him there. Although he did! He just fell to his death. He actually gets another kill, okay, that's damage done to Velocity. And now Kubricks is waiting in actually a good position for a shorty to work. But I don't think he's gonna have anybody come in this way. He might have somebody come on his back, but he's left all alone. Okay. Oh, it's a Matrix. He's in the Matrix, guys. Oh, look at that. Look at the movement.
Choose the blue pill or the red pill.
With what he's holding, I think he's gonna go for the green pill because he's wearing green. His melee is green, and even his weapon of choice was of green. So I think he's a go green fan. Yeah.
You stop. Chose the black pill towards the end and just
I-
decided to end
I-
this
I
fight
love-
with Spike.
I mean, the blue pill or the red pill, whatever you choose, it's gonna decide probably the fate that's already been decided for you. So right now, it looks like the fate of Sasquatch has been decided, and it is in the hands of Velocity Gaming because with the lead that they've got, pretty much they're dictating the pace of the game. They're dictating the way that the game needs to be played. Even if they give up a 2 or 3 rounds, it's not gonna matter to them because they still have the double digits on the board, and they're gonna be able to buy in comfortably. Right now, though, they're on a bonus script. How do you think this is gonna turn out?
Not well, to be honest. I think they should be able to win at least this round, but I have a feeling that Sasquatch will take too many casualties and then lose whatever economic advantage they have right now. Velocity can always buy later on, right? They could have bought this round too. Deathmaker has just a sheriff, even though he's got like 5,000 spare bucks.
Right there.
He easily afforded a Vandal, but he doesn't want to do
Right
that just
there.
yet. Just wants to break the backbone of Team Sasquatch right now. Even if even if they win this round, I think Velocity will try to break their back in the next one, and that will basically economically cripple them. It will put them in a worse situation that they are in right now. Time is ticking by, so there's only a minute left on the clock, so Velocity need to make their move, and they gotta do it now.
You should
Flash is
run.
perfect. Pushes them down just for a little bit, but the lockdown doesn't cover the entire site. They can still play from the defender entrance, and AZ still be able to stay in there. He's just throwing out the paranoia and everything that he can to delay the take for as long as possible and maybe buy himself a
30
lifeline,
seconds
but
left.
no, his teammates won't be able to help him out, and he gets isolated and shut down.
Yeah, the plan is gonna go down, and here comes the retake with the Sasquatch, who have weapons better than Velocity at the moment, but they need to put it to good use because they've been completely isolated off the east side, and Marzel's getting kills. He's getting one, but Soid is gonna trade him back, and that Killjoy. Okay, that just happened. But
Yeah,
Vipor's found one with his turret in a moment of complete and utter audio chaos, as Sasquatch, now left in the 2v3, have got Velocity
Last player
taking control
standing.
over them. LF is just gonna add on to that as he clears up shop, and it is gonna be Velocity with 11th and the bonus in their hands, and Sasquatch have absolutely no answer. And at this point, I'm not quite sure, Crips, but I think that we're heading towards the end of the series if Velocity win out this one.
Hey, forget about the Matrix. You don't need that Keanu Reeves. You need the Keanu Reeves from John Wick right now. That's what Sasquatch need to actually win this game against Velocity Gaming, who are in prime position. They are in cruise control, and they don't seem to be backing down. They win the bonus too, which basically cripples the side of Team Sasquatch, and you can see the desperation moves already. They've got 2 judges. A Spectre, a Sheriff, which is understandable, and Zoid, he purchases a Vandal without any armor. And Cringy's been already dealt with. That's the first judge completely denied. Chops is not in a good position to use the judge from top of heaven, so he's basically a useless person right now. And nobody else will be allowed to move in. The one person who had a Vandal will also take a bullet to the brain, and this is basically done and dusted right now. It's Team Velocity looking on the verge
enemy
of
remaining.
a match point. Ah, and I feel
the
really
verge?
bad the way these guys are just dying right now.
Yeah, I mean, they had the judges, and I thought that looking at it, we were going to see some, you know, the reminiscence of what we saw of the ex-Tempest squad. And, oh, I love them, the way they played. They played for fun. They had their moments of, you know, brilliance with having fun, to be honest. They put in the kind of effort to play the game with judges as much as we do with Phantoms and the Vandals. And they did just fine. But unfortunately, Velocity saw right through it, and they put a bullet into their faces. And now with the match point up, Crips, they again have got a desperate Vi coming in. AZ does find the core though, so that is a glimmer of hope right now that they can play around with. So there's gonna be nobody who wants to backstab if they come in now as well. And the Seekers are actually gonna give away the position of a player, and that's gonna be right to Ace, who's gonna see Chops. Pushes out his flash. Does not want to engage yet. He holds down this angle. He knows that he get a little bit greedy as the rest of his teammates are actually moving towards A, and Deathmaker finds success. Right to Ace, gonna run back to help out his team. Frenzy actually finds one. He's going for another judge kill, and he gets it. The grenade comes back into his hands, and he's gonna try and get it, but he's not gonna find success with that one. Right to Ace. Dies Jakubrix with a, I don't really know how he got in that position and that kill, but LF escapes away with one. And a 1v3, essentially a 1v2 because the Sky down low so very much. He could try to
Yeah, I mean, the Sky can probably be healed by Chops, but the funny part is Hellfighter's been allowed to
30
go all the way
seconds
to
left.
C, and they don't even know he's got the spike on his back. Now they realize
now
this.
they do.
At this point, Hellfighter even has the Cosmic Divide, so he can use that to his advantage. A very tiny, almost one-way smoke created, but no, he's gonna move against it. In fact, he wants to pick up the pace. He's the one who wants to fight right here, and he gets them back! No, that was not supposed to happen! Imagine losing your match in a 1v3 fashion, and this smoke is telegraphic about what AZ is about to do, and Hellfighter he's gonna have a really easy time dealing with this guy. And a very cool clutch to finish
Attackers
off.
win.
Hellfighter, he played them like a fiddle.
What a guy. You know, the instinct that this guy had to know that the flash is gonna go behind him was just absolute nerves of steel. Because if it was me in that place, or probably any other player, you know, they would have thought that the flash is gonna pop up right in front of them and be heaven, because they would have wanted to clear that angle, right? But the flash went behind him, and Helaf held his ground. He did not even move an inch, and he got both of those kills in a spray down, hanging on to that rope that was gonna be the victory rope in the end.
Exactly, and he's on the rope. It's not even like he's got his feet on the ground. People can barely shoot straight when they're on the zip lines. Only the first bullet is accurate, and even then he's able to line two of them in a row. Yeah, at this point, that rope might just turn into a noose for the side of Sasquad.
Yeah, it must have, because after this, probably done and dusted in the TEC Gauntlet Season 2. But let's just have a look at the match highlights, Crips, because it's been quite a bit of a day for Velocity. But hey, we're going to have to talk about the match highlights a little later, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to go to the analyst desk, where Aggressive is waiting for both me and Crips. And we're going to be back in just a bit, so don't go anywhere as we break down this game that Velocity won 2-0 in the post-match analyst segment.
Welcome back, everyone, towards the analysts as these two made the short jog over here to bring you an intense breakdown of this incredible matchup from map number 1 and map number 2 of the LG Ultragear Tec Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant. As we are back here, gents, honestly, as we head on down over to the map video screen and see exactly what the score lines were previously, it's kind of questionable, but at the same time expected that Susquad were not going to be able to take away map number 1. But map number 2, that being an even worse showing coming out from them, was the biggest question mark for me. So let's try and break down map number 1 first in particular as we head on down over to the series highlights from Haven, because I don't know what went wrong here, Cribs, because it felt like Susquad, they had a little bit of control at the start, but right at the very end, they just fell apart in a matter of seconds.
That's right. They seemed like they had a good plan right at the start. They were playing aggressively wherever it was needed. They were falling back whenever it seemed appropriate. They were also able to, for the most part, predict where the velocity is going to be coming from. Especially all the flanking from Deathmaker. That was, for the most part, taken care of. There were some instances where they were unsuccessful, but even after having all the information, Sasquatch did not know how to deal with Velocity Gaming's pushes. Yeah, sure, there were some rounds which they won, and I thought that was a miracle because let's take, for example, this round where there was a Hunter Fury committed by Velocity Gaming. They were not supposed to lose this round, but they did nonetheless. But every time something or the other like this happened, Team Velocity was able to find control of the side very quickly, and then Sasquatch had to play in a semi-retake situation of sorts where they'd already lost most of the men before the spike even was planted, and then they were just trying to, recover sunk cost, which is never a good thing. That's basically the first half summed up between Sus Squad versus Velocity Gaming. Now, in the second half, Sus Squad, I have to give them credit, they tried a lot of cool things. They tried playing defaults, they tried to punish all the aggression from Velocity, which was taken care of for the most part. They were able to deal with all the aggressive pushes from the side of Marzel. They were also able to deal with the flanks from Deathmaker for the most part. But when they were able to deal with it once, Velocity immediately changed things up. And to figure out what Velocity was doing, it took them so much time that there was never anything left in the game by the time they figured out that one playbook from Velocity. They figured
Yeah,
out one play and Velocity immediately changed it. That was basically what was happening to sum it all up. And Sus Squad just did not have a deep enough playbook to deal with Velocity.
Yeah, when you consider Haven being one of their best maps, it's not really surprising, but at the same time, you'd expect it just a little bit more to make it much more of a close affair, to make the side of Velocity sweat a little bit more, because Susquad, they've been making leaps and bounds throughout this entire tournament, and the fact that they just fell short here, it was a massive upset indeed. But at the same time, hey, it's kind of what you would expect. Moving on down over onto the map of Split, where you would expect them to have a little bit more of an advantage, but this was even more of a one-sided showing here, Universe. And I want your thoughts. Breaking it all down from top to the very bottom, in my eyes, it felt like Velocity, they had way, way, way too much map control, and the entirety of Susquad, they were just funneling in through one single sight line, and they were not showing Velocity any form of respect whatsoever. They were like, hey, we're Sus Squad, we're going to be sus here, and we're just going to keep on going. They didn't even slow down to smell the flowers, maybe, allow the side of Velocity to fester a little bit in their position, second guess themselves. Sus Squad, they were like, no, we hold our W keys and we're just going to go on in. And Velocity are like, oh, a wild imposter has appeared. Let's just kill him out here almost immediately. What, like, it was very questionable. Sus Squad, what were they planning throughout this entire game? It felt like they didn't even have a plan to begin with at the start.
Yeah, it almost looked like that, and you probably would be convinced that they didn't have a plan. They kind of just went into it by the feels of it. But there were a lot of rounds where we saw them that, in the first three at least, they had control. They showed that they have what it takes to put up a decent fight. But after that, it was the Velocity show because Velocity Gaming, after that 3 round stint that was given away to Sus Squad, they lost only one throughout the entire map. It was a 13-4 scoreline, and that was it. They did not give them anything more. And that should serve to purpose that, uh, Velocity have everything under control when they want it to be. And they showed that they've got what it takes to be at the very top. The thing about Sus Squad, though, they were taking duels where it was a 2v1 situation at times, but not every single time. Because when we saw them moving in towards the A main position, there were multiple times where, they had their players who peeked out one by one to Deathmaker when he had his
Yeah.
operator in his hands. There were times when they even went to the ramp, but they had right to ways waiting over there in case he played at A heaven. And the players of Velocity, we saw them time and time again. They kept switching up their positions. So Sasquatch even thrown out about that because they didn't know who's playing where, and the fact that Helef could practically place his stars anywhere on the map and be in any one corner himself, they had to always wonder about the fact that even if he's smoking at A, where exactly is Helef? And that always throws in that invariability of a factor that, even though we saw Deathmaker and we saw Right to Ace over here, we have to consider the possibility that there also could be Helef around the corner somewhere over here just because he has, the idea that he can smoke off over here. So they tried to play a little bit more cautiously. Neither did that work for them. Nor did the fact that they tried to push in towards mid so many times we saw it was so aggressive. They went right in the face. And every time they tried to push up mid, they had Marcel. Marzel throws in the grenade. Marzel throws in the boombot. Marzel had the Satos to stop them. The amount of damage he gave on by chipping off his utility was just absolutely brilliant. He held them out for as long as he could. And not to forget, Helef was even chiming in over there by putting in his stars, getting the gravity wells coming in, getting the nebulas coming in. And it sort of sent a kind of a confusion, or paranoia, if you could call it, into the
Yep.
mind straight by Helef because combining those utilities with the stars of Helef's Astra, it just makes it a little bit more difficult for them to enter. That
Yep.
wastes time, that wastes utility on the opposite side as well because they try to come in and get some kills, and they're gonna take chipping damage, and in the end, it's gonna be players from Velocity who take advantage of that because if one player peeks out from one side and takes the bait, there's always gonna be another of Velocity always there to try and get the kill from the other side. That's how they always play. That's how they always will play. And Velocity, well, they always get the better of the team with their 200 IQ tactics. And even though Amaterasu was not there on the server today, it looked like he was.
He was there and feeling that. He's like the eternal fire that never goes away. It's gonna burn inside of the side of Velocity no matter where he is. And hey, if the team is able to pick up the slack when he's not here, just imagine what's gonna happen once he is on the server with the Deathmaker and Amaterasu being on the same squad. Yeah, this roster is much more scarier than it ever was before. That is for sure. And moving on down the line, we just saw a snippet of what Velocity can be here on this matchup. Only 2 games, ladies and gentlemen. And already we are really excited for what's going to be coming on down the line in the future when it comes down over onto playoffs. Velocity guaranteeing their spot. Nothing's going to be shifting them now at this stage. But at the same time, let's just see what's going to be happening to Sus Squad as we head on down over towards the group standings and see exactly where the teams are going to be moving up and down according to what they have done here. Velocity shooting their way up towards that number 2 spot. They're not going to be able to get that number 1 to get that better seeding, but at the same time, hey, top 4 finish. It's going to be all fine and dandy. True Rippers, though, on the other hand, they still have one more match remaining with Enigma as well. So, in a way, this could just be a very interesting one, Cribs. I want your thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, it isn't gonna affect their standings when it comes to playoffs. It's
No.
probably just gonna give them a better seed, but we will see both these teams going off into playoffs nicely and dandily. So I think what they will try to do over here is try to conserve strats, try to not show all their cards right at the beginning because they probably want to save it for the playoffs and the more important games later on, right? So I think that game between Enigma and True Rippers might just be one which is just based on pure raw aggression and simple tactics. Nothing too out of the ordinary, nothing really, really elaborate.
Yeah, they're just gonna be waiting it out. And when you consider at the bottom of the tables here, Team T69, they're gonna be the ones who sadly are not gonna be in the playoffs for the first time. We actually did see them when it came down over onto season number 1. They played their cards properly, they were able to make it down forward, but now it's already done and dusted. They're not going to be able to do pretty much anything. They still have one more game, and I do believe they're going to be going up against the side of Flame Serenity, who are being relegated. They had such a rough season number 2, and I'm really hoping that they're not going to get demoralized by this, and they are going to be coming back even stronger when it comes down over onto season number 3. And at the very end, these matches between these two teams, they're going to be much more of a showing match, to say the very least. But at the same time, hey, Team T69, we're going to be seeing a lot of memes. We're going to be seeing a lot of fun games. And hopefully we're going to be seeing a couple of funky strategies here and there. Maybe Edit getting trolled a little bit more, a couple of balls, a couple of grenades being thrown into space. We love that match. Come on, Chris. You cannot say that wasn't a very good match. Yeah, you can see it in his face. He's like, all right, sure, just go ahead with it. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all that we have for you for today when it comes down to this match. It was an incredible one, to say the very least. Setmaker's debut for the side of Velocity, absolutely incredible. Beautifully done coming on down from there. And hey, they were able to finish it off in a very convincing fashion and a dominant win as well, 13-5 and a 13-4. And I'm really hoping to see how far this team can go when it comes down over onto playoffs, because then we know for a fact that the stakes are even higher and they're going to be pumping out for even more wins, and they're not going to be stopping for even a single second. But hey, just as Velocity are not going to be stopping for a single second, the Esports Club is not going to be stopping as well. So if you want to join in on the action, make sure to hit that like, hit the subscribe, and also hit that bell to get notified when we do go live. And also follow us on our socials on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere else. All of the links are down below in the description. Make sure to check it out, because you never want to miss out on any of the action that we have planned out for you. And as you are down there, make sure to check the links down below in the description for a lot of deals from our sponsors as well, W Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. Get yourself that processor, get yourself that SSD, pimp yourself up for season number 3, ladies and gentlemen, because it's right around the corner and you don't want to miss out if you want to compete against all these top caliber teams. But for now, it's going to be your boy Aggressive, joined by Universe and Chris, signing on off, and we're going to be back with you tomorrow with the LG Ultragear Tec Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Bye.